Honestly, imagine spending your entire life trying to outrun your darkest mistake, only to discover the real monster isn't the ex-con on your roof, right? It's the Savannah Police Department.
Babes, welcome back. We love you, we see you, and honestly, after surviving this season of Cape Fear, we are ready to apply for jobs as highly unqualified private investigators.
We really are. Like, welcome back to the Snark Squad, everyone. Just so you know the exact atmospheric pressure in the room right now, I have a massive pitcher of bourbon peach sweet tea on deck.
Oh, yes, I am right there with you.
I am not pacing myself today, okay? Tonight's finale demands hard liquor and extreme emotional regulation. It is not a request, it is a literal survival tactic.
It totally is. Let's just take a second to acknowledge what we just lived through.
Yeah.
Cheers to surviving 10 grueling, sweaty episodes of highly suspicious Southern behavior.
Cheers to that. And cheers to mind-bogglingly questionable life choices from, like, every single adult on this screen.
Right. And most importantly, a very special, emotionally fraught cheers to Patrick Wilson's Chinese stressed-out forehead.
Oh my gosh, the forehead.
Honestly, I have been saying it since week 2 that Forehead deserves its own Emmy nomination. It was doing incredible narrative heavy lifting all season.
It really was.
You could read the entire tragic trajectory of the Bowden family just by tracking the sweat equity on that man's brow.
It is the ultimate barometer of Southern guilt. But seriously, how are you processing this? Because finales, especially in this Southern Gothic thriller genre, they always leave me feeling completely emotionally bankrupt.
Oh, completely.
You spend 10 weeks building this intricate mental map of who did what, and then there is the sheer, unadulterated panic when you realize the clock is ticking down, and all of these dark, twisted family secrets are finally about to spill out right onto the kitchen floor.
It is a total physical reaction. I mean, I was sitting on my couch, practically vibrating with anxiety.
Yeah.
Because you get this absolute emotional whiplash, you know.
The whiplash is so real.
On one hand, I am desperately wanting this nightmare to end. I am so overly attached to Zach and Natalie. Those poor kids have been put through a psychological meat grinder.
A literal meat grinder.
And I just want someone to wrap them in a blanket and take them to a normal, boring Applebee's, you know. But on the other hand, I am terrified of this screen going black. I don't want the campy chaos to end. Like, what am I supposed to do with my analytical brain on a Friday night now?
Well, you are going to do exactly what you've been doing, which is overanalyzing everything to a deeply unhealthy degree.
True. So true.
Like, the anxiety for me leading up to this finale wasn't even about the character surviving. It was the terror of wondering if we actually solved the mystery, or if the show just manipulated us into creating completely unhinged theories.
Which is exactly what happened. Spoiler alert, we were mostly unhinged.
Right, because a good thriller is designed to make you feel smart right before it proves you are a total idiot.
I have to confess something to you about that. Watching these suspense shows has completely, dangerously inflated my detective confidence.
Oh, same here.
I am walking around with this completely unearned swagger, thinking I can read human behavior like an FBI profiler. I literally forced my partner to leave the room earlier this season so I could pause the TV and analyze Amy Adams's micro-expressions.
No way you kicked them out.
I had to. I was staring at the way her jaw clenched in episode 4, convinced, absolutely convinced, that she was the secret mastermind pulling Max's strings.
Oh, I know you were. I was receiving your frantic text messages at 2 in the morning.
I was unwell.
I can't even judge you, though, because my delusions of grandeur were just as bad. I was taking screenshots of Crystal's houseboat like I was personally collecting evidence for a grand jury.
I remember the screenshots. You sent me a whole folder.
I was rewinding completely mundane conversations because I swore the way someone said the word alibi was a coded confession. The hubris, being wrong 90% of the time, yet maintaining absolute impenetrable confidence.
It is the delusion of the modern true crime consumer. But, you know, it really fed into that paranoia. The setting itself.
Oh, Savannah?
Yes. Savannah, Georgia isn't just a backdrop in this show. It is an active, antagonistic character. The small-town chaos depicted here is infinitely scarier than big-city chaos.
Completely. I mean, in a metropolis like New York or London, anonymity is your shield, right? You can disappear into a crowd.
Exactly.
You could have a complete mental breakdown on the subway and people just turn up their AirPods. But in this hyper-insular Savannah society, everyone is watching everyone else.
It is terrifying.
You can't buy a loaf of bread without the cashier knowing the exact details of your impending divorce and your pending legal malpractice suit.
Which introduces the most lethal weapon in the entire series, the terrifying cower of gossip. Secrets simply cannot stay buried when everyone is deeply invested in everyone else's moral failings.
Never. The secrets always come out.
All it takes is one suspicious glance across the room at a community fundraiser, and it fuels an entire season of psychological warfare. The humidity traps the air, and the social circle traps the trauma.
Wow, look at you getting poetic. But it is true. It is a masterclass in claustrophobia. But babes, enough about our detective delusions and finale anxiety. Let's head back to Cape Fear, where the secrets are unraveling, the tension is peaking, and somebody is absolutely about to destroy their own life in spectacular fashion.
Let's pull this monstrosity of an episode apart. We have to start with the houseboat.
Oh, scorched earth, Max.
Yes. Max Cady, played with this terrifying serpentine grace by Javier Bardem, arrives at his sister Crystal's boat.
Yeah.
Now, we pick up right where the penultimate episode left off. Anna has just vaulted herself into the river to escape.
Oh, right, the river jump.
Max walks in, sees the empty room, and this psychological shift is instantaneous.
It is horrifying to watch because there is no grand villain monologue. There is no pacing or screaming. He just realizes his leverage, Anna, is gone, and he instantly pivots.
He really does.
He walks over to his sister, Crystal, and shoots her point blank in the gut. Then he turns to his nephew, Luke, and shoots him in the gut, too. The casualness of the violence is what makes it so chilling.
And we really need to look at the mechanism of that violence. Max operates entirely on control. For 2 decades in a cage, his only source of power was his physical dominance and breaking people mentally.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So when Anna escapes into the water, she reclaims her agency. She becomes fluid, unreachable. Max can't control the river. So what does he do? He turns to fire.
The elemental symbolism there is so striking. Water is Anna's escape, but fire is Max's purification process. And it is brutal. He drags his elderly father, Robert, and shoves him into a literal dog cage.
Oh, the dog cage. My heart couldn't take it. I was pacing my living room. I felt such an intense visceral sorrow for Robert locked in that cage.
It was awful.
But I was also experiencing this massive emotional conflict over Crystal. We know she is toxic, but the show spent hours establishing the horrific childhood abuse she endured.
Generational trauma at its finest.
Exactly. To see her bleeding out on the floor of the boat, it is just generational trauma violently folding in on itself. And poor Luke, he is just collateral damage in a war he didn't even know he was fighting.
The ultimate tragic collateral. But what really cements Max as a singular, terrifying villain is the absolute camp of his compartmentalization.
Oh my gosh, checking the watch.
Yes, he methodically dumps the bodies into the hold, pours gasoline over every surface, strikes a match, gives his family a fiery Viking funeral, and then he literally checks his watch.
Unbelievable.
He looks at his wrist, deadpans, and essentially says he can't be late for his restaurant's ribbon-cutting ceremony.
The audacity. I mean, who executes a triple familial homicide, sets a boat ablaze on a scenic waterway, and then immediately pivots to worrying about the catering schedule for a soft launch?
Max Cady, that is who. Because to him, the murders were just necessary housekeeping. He's trying to build a pristine monument to his own victimhood, right? And he can't do that if the messy reality of his family is still breathing. He has to reduce his past to ashes on the water so he can present himself as a spotless martyr on land.
Which brings us directly to the grand opening of the restaurant, which is, without hyperbole, the most disastrous public relations event in television history.
Hands down.
But before we get to the party, we have to talk about how the Bowdens actually get there.
Yeah.
Anna manages to swim to shore, crawl up to a highway, and promptly gets hit by a speeding sedan.
Okay, we have to talk about the mechanics of television writing here, specifically plot armor.
Oh, the plot armor was so thick.
Anna gets hit by a car moving at highway speeds, rolls over the hood, hits the pavement, and simply shakes it off. She survives entirely because the writers absolutely need her standing upright for Act 3.
In reality, she has 6 broken ribs and internal bleeding.
In Cape Fear, she just needs an ice pack and an Uber. It is ridiculous.
Exactly. The physical resilience defies all biological logic. And then the writers pull another massive trick with Tom. Tom is sitting in a jail cell, seemingly trapped, until his former fling Lexi suddenly materializes to post his bail.
This drove me absolutely crazy. It is the textbook definition of lazy writing.
Total deus ex machina.
Yes. Lexi showing up with a checkbook had zero emotional weight. It was purely a mechanical lever pulled by the writers to move Tom from point A to point B so the family could assemble for the showdown.
It was incredibly clumsy, but I will forgive it because the payoff at the restaurant was conceptually fascinating. Max is hosting this grand opening for a place he ironically named Melissa and Adam, weaponizing the memory of his dead wife and son.
Which is so sick.
The scene is crawling with local press, and more importantly, it is packed with people wearing Max is a victim merchandise.
We have to unpack this. The visual of citizens wearing fan merch for an accused violent felon is such a biting critique of our current true crime influencer culture.
It is so 2026.
The writers are holding a mirror up to society. We have commodified trauma to the point where a man with a violently ambiguous past can spin a narrative and instantly gain a legion of TikTok sleuths who will literally wear his tragic backstory on a t-shirt.
While drinking his signature cocktails. It captures that modern sickness perfectly. The audience there isn't there for the food, they're there to consume the proximity to danger.
Totally.
And then Anna crashes the party. She walks through the front doors, soaking wet, bruised, holding a crumpled paper bag. The tension was suffocating. I fully expected her to pull a gun out of that bag.
Same. The framing totally set up a gun, but she reaches in and pulls out a Bluetooth speaker.
A Bluetooth speaker. I was like, she could play a dramatic soundtrack.
It was brilliant subversion, though. A gun would only destroy Max's physical body. By playing the audio of Neve's confession, she's doing something far more lethal. She is destroying his legacy.
It is the ultimate intellectual counterstrike. Natalie had secretly recorded Neve, and Anna uses that audio like a scalpel.
And right on cue, Noah hijacks all the flat-screen TVs to broadcast a FaceTime recording. It's footage of Max actively, maliciously coercing his lover, Amy Brancato, into committing suicide.
Now, as satisfying as this public takedown is, my analytical brain short-circuited trying to figure out the logistics of this evidence.
Oh, do not even get me started on the tech logic.
How did Anna get a FaceTime screen recording on a USB drive in the span of 12 hours? The digital forensic reality is completely nonsensical.
You cannot apply any real-world logic to it. You just have to surrender to the plot. Because the emotional result is spectacular. We see Max's carefully constructed mask completely shattered.
He snaps.
He lunges across the room, tackles Anna, and starts violently strangling her right in front of the flashing cameras. He proves his own monstrousness to the public.
And then he finally gets arrested. You look at the runtime and think, okay, the bad guy is caught. We are wrapping up. But no. The writers hurl us into the most frustrating sequence of the entire season.
You are talking about the Savannah Police Department.
I am talking about the catastrophic, negligent Savannah Police Department. Max is placed into the back of a police cruiser. This is a highly dangerous, violent man. And how many officers are assigned to transport him?
Literally one. A single, solitary police officer.
It defies all logic. And Max fakes a seizure in the back seat. He groans, pleads for his seizure medication, and this cop actually pulls the car over, opens the door, and leans in.
I was screaming. I wanted to throw my sweet tea at the screen. How does a trained officer abandon every protocol?
He weaponizes empathy. And the second the cop leans in, Max brutally neutralizes him and escapes.
The ease of the escape is infuriating. But the incompetence doesn't stop there. Detective Grayson shows up at the Bowden house, knocks on the door, and essentially says, "Sorry, minor hiccup, the killer escaped."
And then he does a 5-minute sweep of the closets and leaves them alone.
During a Category 4 hurricane, Hurricane Wesley is bearing down mandatory evacuations, and the police just shrug and say, "Lock your doors." Not one single squad car is left behind. I am writing a letter to the mayor of Savannah.
It is criminal negligence,
Yeah.
but thematically, the hurricane is perfect. The storm isolates them, cutting off the power, trapping them in the dark with their own lies.
Which sets up the most visually insane moment. The storm is raging. Zach, who is heavily traumatized, hears a noise on the roof. So he walks over to the window and unlatches it. He opens the window.
I lost my mind. I was spiraling. I am yelling, "Zach, a serial killer is hunting you. A hurricane is outside. Why are you opening the window?"
It makes absolutely zero sense for self-preservation, but psychologically, he is in a state of profound dissociation. He has been drugged and gaslit. He opens the window because he is completely surrendered to the horror.
That is a brilliant way to look at it, because the reality he invites in is Javier Bardem performing the Batman drop.
Oh, the drop.
Max, crouching on the slick roof, drops through the open window directly onto Zach like an evil geriatric Batman.
I laughed hysterically. It is terrifying, yes, but physically preposterous. The man is wearing loafers on wet shingles in 60-mile-per-hour winds.
With non-slip shoes, apparently.
But the framing is iconic. And once he is inside, we move into the kangaroo court sequence. Max zip ties Tom, Anna, and Natalie. He transforms the kitchen into a twisted tribunal.
And this is where it gets so dark. He pulls out a syringe of that mind-controlled drug and injects poor Zach again.
That poor kid.
This broke me. Max forces this teenager to literally bite his own tongue. We see Zach, blood in his mouth, acting as a meat puppet. The trauma this kid is enduring is unfathomable.
It is incredibly tough to watch. Max uses Zach's suffering to force Anna to confess. He demands the truth about his original trial, and Anna finally breaks.
The plea deal confession. She admits that during Max's trial for the murder of his wife, the jury was deadlocked. Max could have walked free, but Anna, his own defense attorney, bullied him into a horrific plea deal.
Because she was terrified of him, she had slept with him, and she thought he might be Natalie's biological father. She locked away a man who was innocent of that specific crime to protect her own reputation.
She weaponized the justice system. Anna is a villain too.
She actively contributed to ruining his life. But just when Max thinks he has the moral high ground, Anna drops the ultimate bombshell.
The baby twist.
She brings up Crystal's childhood car accident. Crystal couldn't have kids, so she murdered Melissa out of jealousy, cut the baby out of her, and raised Luke as her own.
Max didn't kill his wife or his son, but he did just burn his own biological son, Luke, alive on the houseboat that morning. The absolute Shakespearean tragedy of it all.
Wait. We have to pause the emotional spiral here. My analytical brain caught in a massive plot hole. The coroner.
Oh, I know.
Are the writers seriously asking us to believe that a medical examiner did an autopsy on Melissa back in the day and didn't notice a missing baby? Make it make sense.
It is the most egregious medical oversight in television history.
How do you miss a missing baby? They would check the internal organs, they would see the massive surgical incisions. You just assume we won't think about the basic biology of a C-section.
The logic completely evaporates, but the pacing is so frantic you almost ignore it. Because right then, Natalie uses a lighter to burn through her zip ties, literally melting her own skin.
Hardcore survival instinct.
She grabs a nail gun and shoots Max in the side of the head, and he just pulls it out like the Terminator.
The metal plate in his skull. And then absolute chaos erupts. Zach tackles Max. Anna stabs him. Tom tackles Max through the glass doors into the hurricane.
The poolside fight? Tom manages to hold Max underwater in the pool. Natalie is screaming, "Kill him!" The threat is finally about to be neutralized.
And then Anna jumps in, but she stops Tom. She pulls him off Max and says, "Let him die in a cage."
And I totally fundamentally disagreed with this choice. Let him die in a cage. Babes, he escapes cages for breakfast. He literally just faked a tummy ache to escape. Drown him. The plot armor is too thick.
See, I hear you, but I defend Anna's choice. She didn't want her kids to watch their parents commit murder. She wanted to retain a shred of their morality.
I call it survival stupidity. If someone actively hunts my family with a nail gun, I am not pausing to ponder the moral high ground. It was clearly a ploy for season 2.
Well, her mercy prevails. They drag him out. The police arrive late, as usual. And the show jumps to the epilogue, the eerie backyard BBQ.
The vibes are so toxic. The sun is out, but everything is fractured. Natalie hides her unopened DNA test results. Zach is a shell of a human.
And Tom is standing at the grill, flinching at shadows. He calls Anna a psychopath for ordering a burger with no bun or cheese.
And she replies, "Guilty."
She looks over her shoulder, terrified, and the screen flashes infrared red, the same visual cue for being watched by a predator.
We spiraled over this. Are they just irreparably broken, or is someone actually watching them?
The ambiguity is the real horror, but we need to transition into segment 1, the suspect scorecard. We are going to issue our rapid-fire judgments. Category 1, guilty of something.
Anna Bowden, she is guilty of gross legal malpractice, hiding evidence, and essentially creating the monster that destroyed her family.
Totally agree. Category 2, hiding something.
Natalie, she has the DNA test sitting right there in an envelope and is hiding the results from everyone, including us.
So frustrating. Category 3, surprisingly innocent.
Max Cady, innocent of the original crime anyway. He was framed by his own sister.
It feels wrong to say, but it is accurate. Final category, needs therapy immediately.
Zach, I will passionately advocate for this boy. He was drugged, manipulated, forced to bite his own tongue, and now he has to eat unseasoned burgers by the pool. Get him a professional.
He needs intensive therapy. Moving to segment 2, the evidence wall. Let's look back at the season's breadcrumbs, the clue that mattered most.
Crystal's childhood car accident. Max casually knew she couldn't have kids, which was the entire linchpin to realizing Luke wasn't hers.
The red herring that fooled everyone?
The idea that Max killed Melissa. We bought into the narrative that he snapped, but the real evil was inside his own family.
The moment that should have tipped you off, and I know you're going to brag about this.
I am. The massive, unexplained scar on Luke's torso. I literally paused the TV weeks ago. I knew it meant something unhinged.
You did, I'll give you that. The theory you are still refusing to let go of.
Tabitha, the true crime reporter. Why is she so obsessed? I think the media is secretly funding Max's chaos for exclusive rights. She's manufacturing the content.
A completely plausible media conspiracy. I love it. Segment 3, Southern Chaos Awards. Most suspicious behavior.
Detective Grayson in the Savannah PD. Securing a house by peeking in closets and leaving during a hurricane.
Best dramatic entrance.
Max Cady. The Batman drop-in non-slip shoes.
Biggest betrayal.
Crystal Cady. Murdering his wife, stealing his baby, and letting him rot in prison.
Most chaotic decision.
Anna decided to pull Max out of the pool. Again, survival stupidity.
Character you'd never trust with a secret.
The single cop driving the van who believed Max had a tummy ache.
He folded like a chick chair. All right, final segment. After the finale. Who leaves town?
Nobody. They're trapped by Southern stubbornness. They're going to stay in that house and buy a better alarm system.
Who starts the next round of drama?
Mavetta. Her dad is in jail. Mom is dead. She has nothing to lose. She will terrorize Natalie.
Which relationship is definitely doomed?
Tom and Anna. The trust is gone. They are sleeping in separate bedrooms by Tuesday.
What would a potential season 2 focus on?
The cult of Max Cady. True crime groupies trying to exonerate him while he runs a psychological campaign from his new cage.
One completely ridiculous prediction that somehow feels possible.
Max becomes his own lawyer, puts Anna on the stand, sues for wrongful imprisonment, and wins full custody of Natalie.
That is chaotic, and I would watch every second. Well, babes, we want to turn it over to the listener. Did this messy, polarizing finale actually satisfy you? Or are you furious Max lived?
And which clue should have been obvious all along? Tweet us about the missing baby autopsy, please.
Finally, what would your Netflix true crime documentary about the Bowden family be called? I think mine would be Burger No Bun, the Anna Bowden story.
Brilliant. Thank you, everyone, for spending this chaotic season in the trenches with us. Remind them to subscribe, leave a 5-star review, and share the podcast with another mystery-loving babe who appreciates Southern Gothic mess.
Stay suspicious, stay dramatic, and we'll see you on the snark side.